Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. We are back with the glossary of legal terms. The first term today is investiture. Investiture is the formal ceremony or process of conferring authority, office, or title upon a person. In a legal or political context, it marks the assumption of official duties. It may involve an oath of office and a symbolic insignia. Investiture reinforces the legitimacy of the office holder. It is significant in constitutional, judicial, and ecclesiastical contexts. The next phrase is ex-treaty compliance. Ex-treaty compliance refers to the process of adhering to the obligations set out in a specific treaty or international agreement. This may involve monitoring, reporting, and periodic reviews. Compliance ensures good diplomatic relations and avoids sanctions or disputes. Countries often pass domestic laws to fulfill treaty obligations. Non-compliance can damage reputations and lead to international arbitration. The next phrase is in re. In re is a Latin phrase meaning in the matter of. It is used in a legal proceedings where there are no opposing parties, such as probate cases or guardianship petitions. Courts use it in case titles when the focus is on a thing or matter, not a dispute between individuals. It helps categorize cases for administrative or procedural purposes. The phrase signifies that the proceeding is about resolving a legal issue rather than determining liability. The next phrase is retroactive law. A retroactive law applies to events or actions that occurred before the law was enacted. It can create, modify, or remove rights or obligations retroactively. Such laws are often controversial because they can affect settled expectations. Most legal systems limit retroactive criminal laws to avoid injustice. Ex post facto prohibition. However, they may be used in tax or civil matters where legislatures see public interest. The next phrase is writ of execution. A writ of execution is a court order that allows a judgment creditor to enforce a judgment and collect money or property from the debtor. It authorizes seizure of assets, garnishment of wages, or sales of property. This writ ensures that court decisions have a real-world effect. It is usually issued after all appeals are exhausted. Failure to comply can lead to contempt of court charges. The next term is district. A district is a defined geographic area used for administrative, political, or judicial purposes. It can refer to school districts, electoral districts, or court jurisdictions. District boundaries are usually set by law or government regulation. They help organize governance, representation, and resource management. The concept of a district ensures systematic distribution of authority and services. The next term is liability. Liability is the legal responsibility of a person or entity to compensate for harm, loss, or damage caused by their actions or omissions. It may be civil, criminal, contractual, or statutory in nature. Liability ensures accountability and it provides remedies to affected parties. It can arise in contexts such as torts, contracts, environmental damage, and corporate governance. The scope of liability varies depending on laws, duties, and relationships. The next phrase is reverse discrimination. Reverse discrimination occurs when affirmative action or diversity policies result in unfair disadvantage to majority groups. It is a controversial concept often debated in employment and education law. Courts examine whether such policies are narrowly tailored to serve a compelling interest. Reverse discrimination claims are assessed under equality and anti-discrimination principles. The goal is to balance fairness for all groups. The next term is booking. Booking is the administrative process of recording an arrested person's information at a police station. It typically includes fingerprinting, photographing, and entering personal and offense details into records. It is the first step after an arrest before bail or court appearance. Proper booking ensures accountability and a due process. It is crucial for tracking criminal cases and maintaining law enforcement databases. The next phrase is retroactive relief. Retroactive relief is a legal remedy that applies benefits or corrections to a past period. Courts may grant a retroactive relief in cases involving wrongful termination, back pay, or benefits entitlement. It aims to restore a party to the position they would have been in if no harm occurred. This form of relief can involve monetary compensation or declaratory orders. It is significant in employment law, social security, and constitutional remedies. The next phrase is guardian ad litem. A guardian ad litem is a person appointed by the court to represent the best interests of a child or an incapacitated adult during legal proceedings. This is common in custody disputes, child welfare cases, and personal injury claims involving minors. The guardian ad litem investigates the situation, interviews relevant parties, and submits a report or recommendation to the court. Their duty is to the court, not to either party in the dispute. This ensures that vulnerable persons' voices are heard and protected. The next term is assumpsit. Assumpsit is an old common law action used to enforce promises or contracts that were not under seal. It arose as a remedy for cases where one party failed to carry out an agreement leading to damages for the other. Though largely obsolete today, it laid the foundation for modern contract law. The action emphasized the importance of promises as legally binding. It illustrates the evolution of civil remedies in English and American law. The next phrase is voluntary trust. A voluntary trust is a trust created by the free will of the settler without any legal compulsion. It is established through a trust deed or declaration. The settler transfers assets to the trustee, who manages them for the benefits of the beneficiaries. Voluntary trusts can be private or charitable in nature. They are widely used for estate planning, wealth management, and philanthropy. The next term is polyandry. Polyandry is the practice of a woman having multiple husbands at the same time. It is rare globally, but exists in certain cultural or tribal contexts. From a legal perspective, most modern systems prohibit it under marriage and family law. It raises questions about inheritance, parental rights, and social structures. Its scope is both anthropological and legal, especially in debates on marriage diversity. The next phrase is oppression of minority. Oppression of minority refers to unfair treatment of minority shareholders or stakeholders by those in control of a company. It includes actions that are burdensome, harsh, or wrongful, depriving minorities of fair participation. Legal remedies allow courts to intervene, including ordering buyouts or altering management decisions. It protects a corporate democracy and minority rights. This principle balances majority rule with a fairness in governance. The next phrase is profit interest. Profit interest is a share in the future profits of a business, often given as an incentive to partners or employees. It does not typically include rights to existing capital. Profit interests align the recipient's motivation with the success of the enterprise. They are common in partnerships and limited liability companies. Proper structuring ensures tax efficiency and legal compliance. The next phrase is habeas corpus ad prosequendum. This writ is used to bring a prisoner to court for prosecution in a different jurisdiction. It allows authorities to temporarily transfer custody to face charges. After proceedings, the prisoner is returned to the original place of confinement. It ensures that pending criminal cases are not obstructed by imprisonment elsewhere. It balances justice with custodial obligations. The next phrase is assumption of risk. Assumption of risk is a legal doctrine that bars a person from claiming damages if they voluntarily expose themselves to a non-danger. It is often used in tort law, particularly in sports, employment, and recreational activities. The doctrine relies on the principle that one who consents to risk cannot later complain of injury. However, courts scrutinize whether the risk was truly understood and voluntary. It balances fairness between liability and personal responsibility. The next term is diversion. Diversion is a legal mechanism allowing offenders to avoid a formal prosecution by completing specific programs or conditions. It is commonly used for first-time or low-level offenders. Diversion programs may include counseling, community service, or restitution. Successful completion often results in dismissal of charges. It aims at rehabilitation and at reducing the burden on courts. The next phrase is retrospective application. Retrospective application means applying a law, rule, or regulation to situations that existed before it was enacted. It is common in procedural or clarifying statutes. Retrospective application can be challenged if it affects vested rights unfairly. Legislators must explicitly state intent for retrospective effect. Courts often interpret statutes narrowly to prevent injustice.